I'm going to be slowing down this year to like focus on different things, but I have different goals. Those goals are directly in line with 80-year-old Janelle. Like 80-year-old Janelle is still fit. She goes for a walk in front of her beach house. She's got this great family. She has time to be a grandmother, right? She's not overworked and she does stuff that she loves to do.
Right.
I have to work really hard at 40 to make sure that 80-year-old Janelle is living the life that I envision for her. Welcome to the Push Podcast. Why push? Because a nudge is just too friendly.
And friend, we're here to help you get your shit together. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Janelle.
And we're the Copelands.
We've got 3 daughters, 2 businesses, a mortgage, and lots of responsibilities. So just like you, we're struggling to find that perfect balance of ambitious go-getter hustle while still staying present, loving our kids, and working on our relationship.
And doing the laundry, going to the grocery store. Oh, and don't forget being mindful.
Yeah, all of the stuff. So if you're juggling all the things, but you're also trying to get to the next level, guess what? You're in the right place. So get ready to be pushed.
Hey, welcome back to the Push Podcast. This is our bonus episode, part 2 of goal setting. We felt like, hey, for 2021, goal setting needed to have 2 parts, right? 10 reasons why shit gets hard and why you don't set goals, and then 10 reasons why you should, or 10 ways that you can crush your goals, right?
All right, that's a mouthful. But either way, we're talking about goal setting. So hopefully you listened to episode number 70, which was, all the reasons why people don't set goals. Now we're going to give you some tactical ways to actually stick to those goals. But you, my friend, have to come up with the goals. Yeah. So a couple of things we want to talk about really, really quick. I want to preface the fact that in a society where I think that everything is go, 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 achieve more, 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 I don't want you to start the year off thinking that we are sending that message, because I definitely, at this stage in my life, don't subscribe to that. I don't think that it's about making more, getting more, doing more. Like, I am trying to do less, actually, this year.
Yeah, I think this is about living and understanding. Part of living is setting your sights on things and going after things and in understanding that achievement is, there's more to achievement than just a goal and results. And so I agree with you. It's not about more. It's about, and can I just preface this? Like, I know a lot of people frown upon New Year's resolutions, and I get it, because
which was number 10 in the last episode of why people don't set New Year's resolutions or goals in the first place. And partly is because I was in the fitness industry for a long time, and so it's the busiest time of the year is January, February, and March, and everything kind of dwindles down by that time. And I think that what people have done is they've now had a negative connotation to a resolution. They think that it's kind of cliche in a sense. Right.
But I do think that there is something to a new year that you say, okay, this year, it gives me a good way to button up the last year and start a new year. And so some of you may be already on a path to goals. And then in this episode, we're going to help and strengthen your ability to achieve those goals. And some of you, maybe you're like the last episode, well, you never really set goals, right? And so we want to help give you some strategies to do that really well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you said. I want to also preface, third time we use that word, that even though my goal is to do less this year, it's not out of laziness. It's not because I don't want to have goals. In fact, I'm probably going to have more goals this year than I have in the past, but those goals are going to be in alignment with where I'm trying to go with my life. So we wanted to talk to you really quick about short-term versus long-term goals.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons why I'm setting the goals that I want to set are, quite frankly, to achieve more balance in my life. I can be a workaholic. I can work myself into burnout. I can have the most goals and be super focused on that. And what I've realized is that doesn't make me happy. And so something I want to share with you is the reason we're not telling you like, hey, set out to do $3 million this year. You can. I mean, we have large, hefty goals for our business too. But I would say, last year, 2019, we said we were going to hit $1 million in revenue, right? And we were willing to do whatever we had to do to achieve that because that was the goal that we set. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, I will go all in, not sleep. I will work myself into exhaustion if I commit to something because I don't want to let myself down, let you down, let our business down. So we worked our faces off so hard to where there were certain months that I didn't even come up for air to check on the numbers, only to find out that we were at like $938,000. And I wrote it in a journal in 2019. It was in October. And I was like, holy fuck, it's not about the goal. It's not about the goal because we were so focused on trying to hit the goal that I took my eye off the target and it didn't matter. Like, I didn't feel better that we had earned more money. It didn't seem like it had lifted a weight off of my shoulders. In fact, it felt like that was the hardest year of work in our lives. And I, at that moment, realized I don't want to do this shit again. Even though we didn't actually hit the goal and we got closer than, we thought. That was like our Oprah-sized goal. I wasn't happier.
Right.
I was more miserable.
Right.
And so I want to really open this up by telling you, a lot of people I know, they're guilty of just not dreaming big enough. But a lot of people I know are guilty of, having these crazy outlandish goals and then sacrificing everything else, your health, your sleep, your time with your family. And so we're going to go over some strategies that I think are going to help you achieve long-term success, which is ultimately going to start with your habits, your day-to-day rituals and habits. And before I let you speak, because I know you have a lot to say about this, I want to share with you a couple of things that, like Eddie does. You read your Bible every day for probably 20 minutes in the morning, right?
Right.
You do that. Why?
I do that because it's part of my routine so that I show up for the day, show up for myself, but it's also a part of my spiritual long-term journey.
Right. So it's a quick micro thing that you do every day because it's a part of a long-term spiritual journey that you want to stay connected to God. You want to continue your prayer life. Like, there are many reasons, right? So this is a habit that you have that now you've been in habit of for over 2 years.
Oh, yeah. Longer than that. Yeah.
But it's just something that you do now, right?
Yeah. It's
So this episode
automatic.
is going to be about creating habits and rituals that will help you get to those long-term better you goals versus just a bunch of short-term, like minor success, which should be celebrated, but it's also very important to determine, like, are you trying to lose 30 pounds in 60 days because you're going on vacation to Cabo in February? That's a short-term goal, right?
Yeah.
If you're saying, I want to be a millionaire in 5 years, that's a long-term goal. And so it's really important for you to establish, number one, what the hell your goals are. Some of your goals might be, I want to buy a Louis Vuitton purse before the end of the year. That's a short-term goal. To me, the definition of a short-term goal is something that can be done within 12 months that with focus you can achieve.
Yeah. And short-term goals and long-term goals, I believe, and I think that Janelle's definition is great. I also think that people have a different perspective of duration.
Right.
Some people are really long-term thinkers, which we'll talk about as far as the long game is concerned. And they think about 5-year chunks and 10-year chunks and what can I accomplish in 10 years as a long term. And some people say short term would be 3 to 5 years, right? And so it just really depends on like what you define it as like, I see this as obtainable in this amount of time. And I think this is short term. And I think that that's up to you as a listener to kind of say, hey, this is my long term versus my short term. But I think what I would say is important is goals should be outcome driven. And I'm a firm believer that when you look at a goal, it should be something that you take from it, because the achievement is you feel the excitement and that moment. I achieved my goal. It feels great. And that may last you for a split second. And then now you're on to the next thing, or now you're moving forward. But what you take away, which I believe is outcomes, is what you took from that goal. What skill, what talent, what discipline, what things did you say, I pulled from this goal because I went on this journey. So for example, the example you gave about us going through that journey of trying to achieve the $1 million target, although it was spine busting, tiring, like we were super tired and we were super fatigued by it, we still learn so much more that for your ability to do less now, because we went through that journey. All
it's
of a sudden,
direct learning from that goal.
we extracted so many learnings, so now we don't have to work as hard to do the same outcome, to get the same output. And so I think it's so important that sometimes you do have to grind, sometimes it's that season, and you have to be paying attention to your learning so that when you do back off the gas a little bit, now you don't have to put as much effort to get the same output.
Yeah.
And so I think that to me is so important when it comes to like goals and going after certain things.
And I guess the gift that I want to give you, and then we'll dive into like these 10 things, but the gift that I'd like to give you is the fact that if you're in pursuit of something, you are growing. You're going to be gaining knowledge, gaining insight, gaining clarity. New opportunities will come about. You just have to be in action of something. The problem, I think, with most people is they feel stuck because they're not in pursuit of anything, right? So one of my goals this year is to spend an hour a day learning, reading, consuming. Why? I know that makes me a better person. I know that long term, if I plan on being a public speaker, if I plan on continuing to influence, like I need to work on my vocabulary. I need to work on the information and the knowledge that I have. I need to continue to obtain more. I need to continue to drive creativity and inspire myself to keep moving in new directions, right? So that's one of my small goals that helps me with long term. So I guess what I want to say, and then we'll dive in, is please focus on the fact that goals are cool, goals are necessary, but it's more important who you become in the pursuit of chasing the goal, not so much about the goal attainment.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
Really important. Okay, so some examples of like a long-term goal, just to clarify. You want to become the CEO, or you want to achieve a promotion at work, let's say, right? Some short-term goals, like micro goals that you could set to put yourself in a better position to maybe be promotable, would be show up to work 15 minutes early every day, period. Yeah. That's a cool goal, right? If you suck at time management, but you want to be the boss of people and be a leader, you should probably set a small little goal to just, hey, I'm going to be 15 or 10 minutes early every day to work because I want to set a good example, right?
Yeah. And I think that doing something like that, I think puts you in a situation where you give yourself time to maybe do some studying of the company or study of the things that you're doing at work that are going to continue to help you and put you on a path to getting that promotion you're looking for.
Right. So another example of a long-term goal, I said, maybe you want to be a millionaire 5 years from now. That's a long-term goal. Something that you can do as a short-term goal to be in alignment and help assist you to get to that long-term goal would be start to really focus on your savings account, right? Start to really focus on budgeting, maybe reduce or eliminate some of your credit card debt, start learning about the stock market. Those are all small things that can be done in a short period of time, but ultimately they help you become a millionaire 5 years from now.
Right, because I think goals are accumulation of just that. They are small micro goals that have stacked upon each other to a place where it's inevitable that you achieve the bigger goal, right? The key is, can you stay focused and be happy and celebrate the small little wins that over time build up to a gigantic win.
Right.
And they really paint the picture of the life that you want to have.
Right. All right. So let's get into 10 tips that we want to share with you for how to crush your goals this year. Number one, I would say dream big. I know it sounds really stupid and you shouldn't even have to be told this, but you would be surprised in all of the business owners that we help. Oftentimes they get caught up in all of the things they're not good at, all of the struggles that they are trying to overcome right now, that they get so laser focused on where they're at now that they can't even stop for a moment to think of a better life or a bigger dream or create something bigger or more grand because they're just so like narrowly focused on the problems right now.
Yeah. And I think some people will call this like future pacing, like thinking about the overarching big goal for your life or the big vision for your life, understanding what that looks like, what it feel like, all the things that come along with that, all the senses that are involved, like, what will you be wearing when you're there, right? All those things I think play a part of painting this picture. And I think you can go from there as a starting point of saying, that's what I want for my life. Because I think that even if you're dreaming big and maybe it's audacious, within that, there's a certain purpose that you're actually going for, whether it's freedom, whether it's a life of adventure, or if it's a life of service. Like, you'll see it in that vision, I think. And that's where I think that dreaming big is so important.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are some of your, or maybe one of your big dreams? Like, it could be a long-term goal. What's something big that you think might be outlandish?
I think running for public office, like I said, like 2026, senator.
I think
Senator Copeland or Congressman Copeland. I think that as a short-term goal, but I do know that that's, in a lot of definitions, that could be considered long-term, right? So thinking about 6 years from now, running for a public office, to me, I could see myself doing that.
Okay. My big goal, I'm gonna own a beach house.
Okay.
It's a big goal. I don't know if Congressman Eddie wants to be there, but I'm going to own a beach house.
Why would I not want to be there?
Because I don't know. The public might trash you for owning a $20 million beach house if you're serving the public. I don't know.
I'll find a way to spin it.
Oh my God. What a politician. Okay. Number 2, play the long game.
Right.
What's that mean?
It's just that. I think that you have to look at, okay, what will this mean for me 10 years from now, 5 years from now? I think when you are planning out your goals and you're making small goals, when you're thinking about 2021, is it aligned with the long game, right? Are you derailing yourself by going off and doing arbitrary goals because you're just excited about it? And if that's the case, that's fine. But if it's taking you off course of the long game, like, for example, having a beach house, having multiple beach houses, if we find that, hey, in order to do that, like, we're going to have to modify some things in our lives, then that's what we'd have to do up to that point. And I think when you play the long game, you make sacrifices, you make conscious decisions that keep that long-term goal in play. And I think people sometimes, and we've done an episode on this, in self-sabotaging, like, you have a long-term goal and you sabotage it because you are so concerned with the now.
Yeah.
You're spending all your money on the now. You're buying the luxury car, and you know the luxury car is not helping you get to that long-term goal of owning several properties. Then why are you spending your time on that?
Right.
Right. And I think that to me is so important, because we can definitely get encapsulated by the present. And that can really deter us from the long game.
Yeah, so I think play the long game means like way now versus later, right? So a tip that I do for myself is I ask myself, like, would my future self thank me for this?
Right.
So if my future self is fit and healthy and she's living this long life, she's not going to really thank me for, binge eating because it looks good or feels good right now. What is that saying? A moment on your lips and a decade on your hips, or something like that. So think of things like that are going to help you really weigh the long game versus the gratification of something right now that's not going to help you.
And you know what you're going to regret. Like, right. I think when you think about the long game, you go, am I going to regret this later? Yeah, probably.
Right. Then don't do it. That takes a lot of willpower. Yeah. And I think people would say they don't have willpower, but not you, friends. Okay. Number 3, visualize it often and regularly. So here's a little exercise that I run my retreat ladies through. And that is, we do this 25-minute meditation where they're literally visualizing themselves 20 years from now. So 42-year-old Janelle is now 62 years old.
Right.
20 years from now, if I close my eyes and I think about everything, I think about coming into contact with myself, where am I living? What kind of life am I living? What kind of clothes am I wearing? I mean, if I knocked on the door of some shack to meet 62-year-old Janelle and it wasn't a beach house, and then she looked totally out of shape and overweight because she was eating too many Twinkies, and then she didn't have her finances in order, and I walk in her house and it's messy, and then I look to the left and she's got the stack of bills that say past due, like, I know that I did not set her up to live a great life. Right? And so this exercise that we do is something that really helps us visualize who we're trying to become. And I'll just tell you, like, I often say to myself, future Janelle won't thank me for that. No, that's not what future Janelle's going to be thanking me for.
Yeah.
And that keeps me really focused on my goals. So think about yourself, visualize it, and just ask yourself, like, if what you're choosing right now is something that's in alignment with where you really want to go.
What I love about that is that it puts you in a place where you can really go after your aspirational values, right? Like if you see yourself doing something or in a position where if you're surrounded by family, you're doing something where you're, I don't know, whatever it may be for you, like you'll see what you want to value, right? Because I think we have values now that whatever you spend your time on is what you value most. But sometimes you're like, I know I shouldn't be spending my time on this because I really want to spend my time doing this, right? And I think that when you start to do that visualization, it really puts in focus what you value most, but maybe you're not putting it in action.
See, the thing is like when I told you guys that I'm going to be slowing down this year to like focus on different things, but I have different goals. Those goals are directly in line with 80-year-old Janelle. Like 80-year-old Janelle is still fit. She goes for a walk in front of her beach house. She's got this great family. She has time to be a grandmother, right? She's not overworked and she does stuff that she loves to do.
Right.
I have to work really hard at 40 to make sure that 80-year-old Janelle is living the life that I envision for her.
Yeah.
That's a huge responsibility for me. So that's something I hope that you guys take. Number 4, create accountability. You've got to have things in place where you can have some sort of accountability. I can't tell you how many times, especially in the fitness industry, people silently set goals for themselves. They don't share them with anyone. They don't get anyone to participate with them. There's no accountability partners. So there's no check-in, which means you can privately fail and nobody will know about it.
Secretly die off, right? And I think that people rely on that sometimes. They're like, I won't tell anyone this goal because if I don't succeed, it's better just no one knows that I even tried. But I think that that's where people go wrong. I think it's important to declare it. Now, I'm not saying that you go to every single person and you tell them this is your goal, but you find the people that are going to hold you to it, people that are going to hold you accountable to it. Like you tell those individuals what your goals are and you ask them for their support. I also think that creating accountability means that there's a system of measurement, right? I think that a goal can't be a goal if you're not measuring something. Like you've got to be, whether it be tick marks of how many times you actually read an hour a day, whether it be if you ate healthy foods and you said, I'm going to focus on what I can eat versus what I can't eat. And you give yourself a score every day, like, okay, I got 100 because I ate what I was supposed to be eating every single day. This is why things like Weight Watcher points are so successful. Because there's a built-in system for accountability for the point system that you're getting. And I think that when people see that score, this is why the watch has been popular, because every day you get numbers that tell you, did you achieve your move goal? Did you not? Did you exercise?
About the Apple Watch?
The Apple Watch, yeah.
Okay. You just said the watch.
Well, the Apple Watch, Fitbit, all those different things, they give you accountability. And so I think that whatever you're trying to achieve, you've got to build in a system that's going to allow you to measure your progress and your success, or maybe the fact that you're off course and you need to modify what you're doing every single day.
Right. So have some sort of system to track and monitor your progress so that you can hold yourself accountable. But also you need an accountability buddy. I would just say the more public you can be with it, then I think the more accountable you'll be, because you don't ever want to let people down. People are really good at letting themselves down, but it's more difficult. Like, let's just say I say, this week I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym early. Well, if no one's waiting on me, then why do I have to wake up early and it's cold? Oh, and it's raining? No, thank you. But if someone's at the gym waiting for me, I can't let them down.
Yeah, and I just be careful who you choose.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because if you choose someone who's like,
oh, girl, yeah, it is cold.
It is cold.
Let's stay home.
Are you cold? I'm cold.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay here. No, I think it's important that the accountability is someone you're asking for them to hold you to it. But it's important, I tell you, it's so important that you are not like doing it for that person, right? They're not designed, the person you are putting in your circle of accountability, you don't owe them anything. You owe it to yourself. And I think
I'm not good as an accountability buddy, just to let you know, because if you call me with an excuse, I'm going to be like, fuck her. She's out. Like, she's not taking this seriously. I'm not going to waste my time calling you out saying, hey, get your ass up. Let's go. I'm just not. That's not what unless you're paying me to be your coach.
Yeah. But if a
I'm
friend
just going to be like,
said,
she's full of excuses.
Hey, can you just hold me to this? I want to do this. Every time you talk to me, you would be there for that person.
I don't know.
All right. So
I don't know.
You won't get a push from the co-host of the Push podcast.
But think about it. Because I can think about many people that wanted to work out with me. And I'm like, but you're not as committed as me. So it's going to hold me back.
I don't think that I'm not a big advocate.
And right now, I'm not
a proponent of a person that having workout buddies. I just don't think it works. I think that your goals are going to be ebbs and flows with your partner, and then you'll probably on different paths. And so I just don't think that is sustainable. But I do think it's sustainable if you implore people to say, hey, I want you to just give me some accountability, just shoot me a text just to keep me in line, because sometimes I just don't have the self-discipline right now that I need. Yeah. And as I build this up through this journey, I'm just going to need you to kind of give me a little push here and there.
Okay. I will do that for you, Eddie. All right. Number 5, prepare for success. You got to set yourself up to win. I think the easiest way to do this is to break it down into manageable chunks. We can call those micro goals. And the big thing is you got to celebrate your victories. I think it's important to have micro goals so you have something to celebrate along the way.
Yeah, it was interesting when you said that, prepare for success. I don't know why, but my brain went to like being in that, like feeling like you've already attained it in a sense, like being that person that you want to attain. I know that that's not what you're saying, but I think when you prepare for success, it's almost like expectancy. Like I know I'm going to achieve this, and so I'm preparing myself. But I think part of
you're talking about like confidence and stuff. I'm talking about like, if you say you're going to go on a diet, but you don't make time to meal prep, you're not setting yourself up to win.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So we're not on the same wavelength right now.
But it's hear me out. I know this sounds like a stretch, but it's actually the same thing, because a healthy and fit person that is being that today prepares their meals for the next day, has times that they have set aside to exercise.
Right.
Fit people are fit because of they are fit. They do what fit people do. And so preparing for success is preparing for who you're going to become. Right. And so if you're overweight, or if you're having weight trouble and you want to really achieve this goal, well, you got to act like a fit person acts. And a fit person prepares their meals. A fit person doesn't find time to exercise, but has scheduled times where they exercise. If you are looking to say, hey, I want to have a wealth mentality, you have to operate like a person that has wealth. And I think that to me is a way that you prepare for success. Like you are being the success before you've actually achieved it. And that means that's in your habits and your behaviors every single day.
Yeah. So I think the micro goals are set up to do number 6, which is to reward yourself to stay motivated. So celebrating your victories. I know that I said that in number 5, like prepare for success so you can set yourself up to win so you can celebrate. But that's actually number 6. And I think it's one of the things we do the least often. We see the big goal that we're trying to get to, and don't let you come up short, because then all you can feel is like a failure, right? But if you set yourself up for small little victories and celebrate along the way, then I think you'll find more joy in the journey, but also it'll give you that motivation you need to keep going. So for example, let's just say that you're super out of shape and you really want to create like healthy habits and start to move your body more this year. Maybe you set a goal for like, hey, I'm going to kind of punish myself right now. I'm going to use all the workout clothes I have, the ugly t-shirts, whatever. But maybe in 3 weeks, if you hit a milestone, you buy yourself a nice pair of leggings.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a good little micro goal to work towards.
And I like that. And this is one of those note to self moments, because I think that we struggle with like celebrating. Like we have gone.
Yeah. We go too fast.
Yeah. We go so fast that there are milestones that we just like knock over and didn't even realize it. And then, you know, before we know it, we're so tired after the fact that we can't even celebrate. I think the last time we like visibly celebrated is, I don't know if you remember when we both passed our real estate exam and we were across the bed from each other, and like literally it was a phone call letting you know that you had passed. And I can't, for whatever reason, this memory, I cannot remember who got the phone call first. And it was like that anxiety, like, oh my God, I hope you passed too. And we jumped and we celebrated.
That's true.
But it was a really great milestone,
right?
Because it was something we set out to. We went to classes for. We took night school. We took the test together.
Right.
And so,
and thank God we both passed, because if you would have failed or I would have failed, it'd have been over.
yeah,
I'd have been so salty. You'd have been salty. It'd have been bad.
yeah, it would have been
So
all
thank
bad.
God we both got the call.
Yeah, that was good.
So find ways to celebrate. And Eddie wrote a little note, celebrate, but don't settle.
Yeah. I think sometimes you can celebrate yourself into comfort. Like, oh my God, I did it. I can't believe. Yeah. How many people do you know achieved a fitness goal, looked great for like 3 months, and then before you know it, you go, oh wow, you put back 45 pounds.
Right.
Right. And so you kind of settled into that celebration and you said, since I achieved my goal, I can have whatever I want to have. And you just abandoned all
there's your 30 pounds.
You abandoned all the habits and routines that helped you get there. And now you're back.
So remember, though, if you listen to the preface of this, it was focus on what you're becoming and the habits and rituals you are creating and the disciplines you're creating, not just the goal.
And I think that's what happens when you just focus on the end result. You're like, I got the goal. Okay, perfect. And now I can go back to my shitty behavior.
Right. Okay, so that leads me into number 7, which is give yourself a day off and plan for breaks, right?
Yeah.
So this year, we were discussing today our goals, and we decided that we were going to do 90 days of paleo. We have done paleo before. If you don't know what paleo is, it's basically all natural.
Right.
No grains, no rice,
gluten,
no
sugar.
gluten, nothing processed. So that means
But it's a lot of good food in it.
It is. Like we had key lime pie. We had lots of great things. So it worked really well for us because we didn't feel like we were missing out on anything, but it also made us look at food as fuel.
Yeah.
Like if it doesn't grow from the ground or roam the earth, then you don't eat it, right? So you're cutting out processed ketchup, you're cutting out anything processed, which really everything you eat then comes from the earth. So I felt very much like I was fueling my body.
Yeah.
And so that's really what we're focusing on for the next 90 days. Why 90 days? 90 days so we could celebrate that we were good for 90 days. But back to this number 6, number 7, which is give yourself a day off. We committed to being paleo for 5 days a week for 90 days.
Right.
And we said on the weekends, we won't go crazy, but if we feel like having a cup of rice or, indulging with something with our kids, then we're not going to beat ourselves up for that. That's going to give us the motivation that we need to keep going.
Yeah.
For 90 days.
Oh, yeah. And, one of the times that I would say that I was the most fit in my life, I would go all week, super disciplined, and then I would have an entire pie at the end of the week.
It's true.
So it could be done.
Sweet potato pie is your jam.
Absolutely.
All right. Number 8, take your feelings out of it. I can't reiterate enough. Like, this isn't about the goal achievement. It's really what you're making all of this mean, right? So you're not a loser if you fall off. You just get back on. I think people get so caught up in like, I feel so restricted. Oh, I can't go to dinner with my friends. Like, you're focusing on how it's making you feel in the moment versus the long-term justification of what you're really trying to go after and why.
And then sometimes people are like victimized through the journey. Like, I can't have that.
I'm on a diet. I can't have this.
I can't have this. Oh my God. And
so your language matters.
Yeah. And then before you know it, you're like pissed that you have this goal.
Right.
And then
the goal makes you mad.
Right.
And now you're tricking yourself into feeling like you made a bad choice. Right. What do you think is going to happen?
You're going to fall off the wagon.
And you're going to give yourself every excuse.
Yeah.
You're going to justify it. You're going to say, oh, I tried that. It doesn't work for me. No, you don't work for you. That's what you don't work for
your goals.
Yeah. So please take your feelings out of it.
Right.
Number 9, surround yourself with success. That could be friends, that could be books,
push podcasts.
That could be lots of things. But I would just say it's important what you're consuming.
Yeah. I mean, I think we have seen success because we have done that. Like, I would say consciously and unconsciously, with the books that we buy, the podcasts that we listen to, all those things have really built us to who we are today and what we do today and how we interact with the world. And I think that when you surround yourself with success, it could be a group of individuals that stretch you, but it has to be something that challenges you. It can't be like, oh, this is comfortable. This feels good. It almost has to be like,
there has to be a push.
Challenge. There's a stretch to it. Like, I'm getting to a place in my readings where I want to read books that stretch me, that make me go, fuck, what are they saying?
What is this
what
word?
Are they talking about, right? And I think that when you do that, I think that it now elevates you in a different comprehension, a different skill set. in a different way of seeing the world, but also a different way of sharing that to other people, where you get to a place where you can say, okay, I got something complex that I have got to a place where I can communicate it at a 5th grade level.
So what's interesting is when you said that, like, I want to read a book that I don't even know what they're talking about. The first thing I thought of is someone's going to say, that doesn't even sound enjoyable.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
Which
the point.
takes me back to number 8, get out of your feelings. Like, you're feeling like it has to feel good.
Right.
You're feeling like it should be all, roses and, going to the gym should feel good. Well, no, it doesn't have to.
Yeah,
it's just a discipline that you're trying to create, right? And so I think the last bit of advice that I would give you, if we were to kind of wrap this up and put a bow on it, the bow I want to put on for you is that it's about the long-term pursuit of something that's going to help you build the resilience. When we became bodybuilders, it was a year. We had dieted, we did paleo, all this stuff for about a year. And then we spent a year focused on bodybuilding. And we were in the best shape of our life. It was also the hardest thing we've ever done.
Right.
And I remember the first show that we went to where we were actually going to compete. If you want to get in the best shape of your life, compete or commit to standing on a stage wearing 3 pieces of fabric and some clear heels, and you will not cheat, because I'm not trying to stand up here and be humiliated because I ate Cheez-Its and, nachos. Like, right. I'm just not, no, I put myself here. I want to be here to win, not to look like a loser for something that I did or didn't do, right? And so I remember vividly, though, like, we were on our way to our first competition and we looked at each other and we said, we are so proud of like, I'm so proud of you. Like, look what we did. Look at this discipline. We had never experienced discipline at that level in our lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so that's what I want to leave you with. That's the bow that I want to put on your goal setting this year. Discipline is good. Boundaries are good. When you have too much freedom in your life, that's when you get fat. That's when you get irresponsible. That's when you stop focusing on things that are important. I want to remind you, as an adult listening to the Push podcast, that boundaries and restrictions are good. People who are successful live restrictive lives. You're not a millionaire because you're just spending money like an idiot. You're a millionaire because you exercise disciplines and rituals around your money, right? You have habits around your money that create wealth.
Right.
You're not a fit person because you have good genes. You're a fit person because you have created rituals and habits around your fitness, right? Or around your health and wellness. So I really, really want, if you get nothing from this podcast, I want you to walk away asking yourself, what am I in exercise or what am I in practice of that's creating discipline in my life? We need boundaries and we need restrictions for the things we're trying to go after. And I want you to stop putting a negative connotation to those things.
And I would just tell you, because I think people might hear restrictions and they go, well,
you think it's a bad word.
I think it's a bad word. But here's the thing, and this is so important, and I hope you guys listen to this. Freedom of mind is discipline, right? Because it is willpower. It is saying consciously, although I am a slave to sugar, I am a slave to distractions and TV and all these different things and social media that has enslaved my mind, because I can't even help myself at this point now. I have to go online. I have to scroll. I have to have sugar. That is not freedom. Right. Freedom is
That's
the
control.
discipline. Right. Freedom is the discipline of saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. No, I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to eat this. And I think what people need to understand is in order to have freedom, you need to exercise willpower. You need to exercise a certain level of discipline to show that you have subdued your ego. You have subdued yourself to a place where now you can dictate exactly what you want for the long term and not just be subject to the moment and fall into the pleasure-seeking habits that we all have at some points in our lives. So I think this is important.
Speaking of pleasure-seeking, because I love that you brought that up, we're so accustomed to do what feels good.
Right.
This is where people fall into their comfort zones, and then you start to be fearful of getting outside of your comfort zone. I just want you to pay attention to the fact that if you're not trying to condition yourself to put disciplines in order in your life, then you're just kind of like willing to be blown around by anything.
Yeah, because you don't stand for anything.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't know how to shake you guys to get you to understand, like, you have to have discipline in your life. Nothing good is going to come from just constantly seeking pleasure and doing what you want and eating what you want and going where you want and being late or being on time, whatever. Like nothing good is going to come if something's not challenging you.
And I will say this, and we said this on part 1, like just being oblivious to the fact that you're stuck. And I think that that's what happens. You fall, you get pleasure seeking and you fall asleep. And what I mean by that is like you're just unconsciously just doing what's comfortable, what's hey, this is what I always do. I always eat this. I always watch this. I always have these kind of discussions with people, and we gossip and do all these things. By the way, this is number 10, is self-regulating and making sure you govern yourself. But I just think that that's so important that we end it with this, because for those people who don't know that they're stuck, like this is when you need to find out. Like you need to change something in your routine and see how uncomfortable it is. And then you'll realize, wow, I was so stuck in my ways.
Well, okay, so number 10, self-regulate. Let me just ask you this. If you're unhappy with your body, ask yourself this question. How often do I eat stuff that I'm supposed to, that I know is good for me, versus eating what I feel like?
Or rationalizing, saying, oh, I didn't have any time, so I had to go get fast food.
Right. But just like making the decision to say like, oh God, God gave me this body to take care of it. I should probably fuel it with food that makes me feel better.
Right.
Or would you say 90% of the time you eat what you feel like? I eat what's convenient. I eat what's around. I eat what I feel like.
Right.
We do that often. Like, hey, what do you guys feel like for dinner? Chipotle. Okay, well, that's what we'll have, right?
Right.
So just ask yourself something about food like that. How often do I eat what I should versus what I want to? Let's talk about your money. How often do you say, no, we're not going to do that because that's not in alignment with the fact that we're saving right now?
Right.
Because we're in more debt than ever. And people are just, I think, falling victim to the fact that things are so easy to obtain.
Right.
Amazon will send that shit to you tomorrow. Like you don't have to wait for money.
You
put
look
it on a credit card.
You like, should I buy this? Well, it will be here tomorrow, so might as well.
I already hit buy now. Everything's just so convenient.
But and I think the reason why it's so powerful to end on this self-regulate, because when you look at everything that's on this list, it really allows those things to come to life. If you are self-reflecting, if you are like really looking at and being conscious of, I have a goal. Let me look at my goal. I wrote it down. Let me visualize it. Let me make sure that I have accountability. It's all building this person that wants to do something amazing in the world and just needs to govern itself.
Yeah.
Right.
We talked in the previous episode about our girls developing really great habits around health and fitness on their own. One thing that they also do when they're in the middle of finals or things get tough with school and they know that they need to focus, they delete apps from their phone.
Yeah.
I was going to say undownload. They undownload TikTok and all of the social media, right? They'll delete them from their phone. So I remember a couple weeks ago, I asked Jordan like, oh, did you see this on TikTok? And she goes, oh, can I look on your phone? Because I deleted it from my phone. And I go, what? And she goes, oh, it was distracting me. I had to get that out of my life. And I was so proud as a parent, like I said something to Jasmine today and she's like, oh, I deleted Facebook from my phone. I got to re-download it. So I just want to shout out the Copeland girls because they have done a really good job of like understanding right now I got to focus. So I'm going to eliminate distractions. And I know that this is a distraction for me. So I'm just going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you as adults, when was the last time you did that shit?
Just get rid of it.
Just delete it.
Just go in your pantry and just burn all the hoes and the ding dongs and the.
So I hope that this episode was helpful. I hope that, we're helping to set you up to crush it in 2021. It's not about achieving more, getting more. This isn't about more. This is just about you pushing towards your future you pushing to the next level of yourself, whether that's to be more present for your family. So many business owners I know are burnt out, right? Yeah. You start a business so you're your own boss. You start a business so you can create freedom in your life. And that's what we're going to be working on this year with a lot of our business owners is how do we create that? Because what you're doing isn't actually working right now. So how can we focus on doing less, being more efficient? For me, it's going to be about prioritizing my time. I have to say no to a lot of things that normally I'd probably say yes to. Why? Because I'm an excited person and I get distracted by shiny things. But knowing that like being overworked and not having time to be present, like that doesn't make me happy, right? More money doesn't make me happy. Sure, it's, great to have. You can remodel your house. It gives you options, but it doesn't make me happy. So I want to leave on that note. Like all of these things that you're trying to achieve and attain, they're not going to make you better people, but paying attention to who you are becoming during the journey and in pursuit of it, that's going to be life-changing.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say is these principles that we talked about here, because that's what they are. They're principles to activate your goals, to activate the person inside of you that will thank you later for what you do today.
80-year-old Janelle.
The 80-year-old Janelle. These principles can be applied whether it's 2021 or 2052, right? And no matter what is going to happen in this year, because we don't know, right? You can put these things into action and you can put these behaviors into practice every single day, and they can really activate your life in a different way. And I think you'll have a sense of fulfillment and you'll have a sense of understanding what you are becoming along the path, and you'll get more out of 2021 than you did in 2020. And then it's going to help you in the long run. So keep the long game and push through.
Love it. If you got something out of this, please take 2 seconds to write a review. Let us know what you learned and what your goals are going to be for 2021. We can't wait to continue to push through with you. Take care, you guys, and Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening to the Push Podcast. Hey, we want to hear from you. So if you have a question or there's a particular topic that you want us to tackle and you want us to help you push through, you got to do something for us. You got to go to Apple Podcasts and you got to leave a rating and a review. And in that review, go ahead and leave that question with your Instagram handle so that we can shout you out when we actually answer the question. And we'll talk about that on the podcast and make sure that, hey, this particular podcast is made for you. So leave a rating, leave a review, leave your handle, and until next time, push through.